So welcome everybody here to the Fastmarkets Middle East Iron and Steel event. This is the Live Lounge. I'm Georgia Tolley, and this is where we get to interview interesting people who are attending this conference. And it doesn't get much more interesting than my current guest. I'm delighted to say that we are joined by Dr. Khaled Al-Hajeri. He is the Vice President of Building Materials at the National Industrial Development Center in Saudi Arabia. Now, with over 30 years of extensive industrial experience, Dr. Khaled has experience in generating growth and also fostering investment in building technologies. He's also in charge of supplying sustainable solutions in line with the National Industrial Strategy in Saudi Arabia. Dr. Khaled Al-Hajeri has 31 years of hands-on experience in industry research and business development. His academic journey started with a master's degree in metallurgy from the University of Sheffield in the UK, but he also has a PhD in materials sciences and engineering at the University of Pittsburgh in the United States. Prior to his current role, Dr. Al-Hajeri dedicated himself to various research and management positions within the iron and steel industry, where of course he cultivated valuable insights and skills. Notably, Dr. Al-Hajeri has played a leading role at the Home of Innovation initiative at SABIC, demonstrating his commitment to fostering innovation within the industry. His modest yet impactful contributions underscore his dedication to advancing industrial development and research excellence in the field of building materials. Dr. Al-Hajeri, thank you so much for joining us in the Live Lounge today.
Thank you very much for having me here with you.
Well, it's a great pleasure to have you with us. And I'm really intrigued, first of all, as to what your current role actually entails, because it's a very exciting position at a very exciting time for Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me here with you today. The current role, actually, as you mentioned, I'm acting as Vice President for the Building Material in the National Industrial Development Center. It is under the government, actually, under the Ministry of Industry. In our center, industrial center, we try to identify the industrial opportunities that's required for the strategy of Saudi Arabia, industrial strategy and localization. Try to find those industries and try to make a business case and invest and call the investor based on this business case. Try to make the ecosystem around them good. So if I would like to attract someone to invest in steel, so I have to tell him what type of steel he should invest, what type of grades, and how he's going to invest. And I have to make some or reform the things around him to make his investment valuable.
So the idea is to bring more construction material manufacture in country.
Yeah, actually in the center we are working with different sectors. I'm working with this building material sector. There's people working with the mining industry, people working with auto industry, talking about machinery. So we are divided 10 sectors. We are focusing on those sectors to try to transfer the kingdom to the industrial era. We were in the oil for a long time, depending on oil. Now we would like to transfer things to industry. And there is actually big success in this. And in 2017, there was something like 7,000 plus factory. Today now we have 11,000 plus. And we are targeting in 2035 to have more than 30,000 factory in Saudi Arabia. And that's need a lot of infrastructure, a lot of work, regulations.
My goodness me, I mean, whenever we talk about Saudi Arabia and the transformation that's going on there, it's always on a very grand scale. And of course, one element of what's going on in Saudi Arabia is a huge amount of construction. And I imagine the two industries go hand in hand. If you're going to build a lot of stuff, then you need a lot of building materials.
Of course. Look for when you talk about building materials, we have something essential building material. If you talk about cement and steel, that's very essential. You cannot build a building without concrete and steel. So that's basics. And the industry for the cement in Saudi Arabia, it's back to 1955. It's very old. I can say it's before the petrochemical industry in Saudi Arabia. And now in Saudi, when we talk about cement industry, we have 17 factories producing more than almost 80 million ton of cement. That's the capacity. The point here, when you talk about the other secondary material that you are using in the construction, forget about the steel and cement, the other material, still there is a gap, and we would like to fill this gap. We make analysis, like when we talk about some opportunity in the sanitary ware. We have some production, local production, but still there is a gap, big gap. So we have to try to make the investment for this one is attractive here in Saudi Arabia. Also talking about building technology, the new methods of construction, advanced method of construction, 3D printing, modular and all the stuff. We know that we cannot fulfill the requirement for the growth with using the traditional way of construction. We have to transfer to the advanced method of construction. By the way, maybe I mentioned it or not, that accumulated amount of spending for construction up to 2030 is going to be 5 trillion, minimum 5 trillion. That's construction.
5 trillion?
Spending, accumulated spending.
Is that dollars or reals?
No, Saudi Riyal.
Still a big number.
It is a big number.
Yeah.
And you can imagine, usually third of this amount is going for the building materials. That's mean talking about almost 2 trillion Saudi Riyal is going to be spent in the building material. It's shame for us actually if we are importing this material.
Yes.
If we can localize, that's the time to localize it. If I cannot localize it today, we'll never localize.
Well, it's an extraordinary opportunity for entrepreneurs and investors in the kingdom. How are you going about accelerating those industries? Is it difficult? Are there challenges?
Look, in the government, we have the way to support this industry, and that's what we are doing.
Yeah.
First of all, the infrastructure. All this industry, if I'm saying I'm going to raise the amount from 7,000 to 30,000 factory, all of them, they need cluster, they need zones, they need the utility, lands, also finance, the loans. Those companies, when they come, most of them, they have to have some support from the government, support for building the factory, support for innovation, support for training the people. Also talking about modify or reform the policies which we have. There are some policies, or what we call it, bureaucracy, that we have to overcome. We have to make lean for our process, for how we are dealing with things from 50 years ago. It's not like things today or things tomorrow. Things move very fast, actually. So that's one. Also, as I mentioned, the training, also supporting the exports. That's one part of it, because maybe I have huge requirement currently in Saudi Arabia, maybe up to 2040, 2045. But when you put a factory today for steel or for cement or for whatever, okay, what I'm going to do with this access capacity after I finish my project? So I have to have access for exporting, supporting to export those material outside. So we are working in making this ecosystem good for the investors.
It's clearly a very exciting time. How about talent? How are you going to staff up these factories? Are you also working alongside, for example, universities?
I'm talking about my experience in steel industry. I worked for steel industry almost since 96. That's a long time.
I know. I've got a rule of I don't do maths when I'm in front of a microphone. That's my rule. I can't do maths in front of a mic.
Long time, almost 30 years. Such industries need actually specific or special training, and we don't have in our universities here somebody talking about metallurgy at that time. So we all, like mechanical engineer or civil engineer or electrical engineer, we are going to the steel industry and working there with no background, and we learn while we are working. I was so lucky with the SABIC because they put me in the research and development center, and I don't know anything about steel at that time, and they realized that I don't know about steel. They sent me actually for a master degree. So I get to know more about this metallurgy. Then came back, start working in development, and then I get this PhD. So we realize how it's important. SABIC, actually one of the company, they get collaboration with some other institute, internationally to train their people. But not everyone in the industry, they have the capability to do that.
Yeah.
Very small, fragmented industry, especially when we talk about downstream. So what we think about, or thought about, and we are doing actually now, what we call it Steel Academy. We try actually, that's only for steel, but when we talk about any other industry like cement and gypsum, all of them, they need something like that. But we know that we have to rescale the people, upscale the people which they are available, engineers or operators. We have to scale the people. They feel more confident actually about their business and what they are doing. So we are working actually now hard. I'm not hardly working hard to do that.
I mean, there's so many different vantage points that you're going through here. There's so many things that you need to do as you develop this new industrial sector ultimately in the kingdom. But there's a real need for it, aren't there? Because, I mean, the building projects that you're doing in Saudi Arabia are world renowned. Can you talk me through some of the biggest projects that are ongoing at the moment? Because they're proper giga projects, not mega, but giga projects, aren't they?
You mean the construction projects?
Yes.
Yeah, when we talk about construction projects, if I talk about Riyadh, we have a huge amount of projects coming in Riyadh, especially with Expo 2030. Is next year. 2030 is very close.
Feels very soon.
Very soon. And if you would like to build infrastructure like hotels and all this stuff, you have to start yesterday, not today even. And they are talking about the number of keys. When you talk about hotels, number of keys.
Yeah.
In Saudi Arabia, in general, you need something like 300,000. That's a huge number. You cannot construct this stuff using the normal way of construction. No way, in this very short period. Some of it here in Riyadh or some in the Medina, Mecca, because also there is a big expansion there. There is a project there in Riyadh called Al-Muka'ab, Dir'iyya. That's a new project, actually iconic projects. Dir'iyya, maybe you know it. That's
Dir'iyya Gates.
Dir'iyya Gates.
Yes, beautiful. The old historic area, and it's being redeveloped.
Yeah. And also Qiddiya, we have this...
Qiddiya's the entertainment district.
Entertainment,
yeah.
Yes, please. Also, when you talk about Neom, by the way, it's not one city, it's area.
Yes.
And it's full of projects, actually. The line is one.
Yes. Then there's skiing, there's the Red Sea.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know why I'm telling you.
Trojena.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of activities going on. A huge spend. And we are monitoring actually the activity going on there, because when I talk about these trillions of spend, part of it coming from PIF. PIF is handling these subjects. And what we realized recently, that's most of this project pickup start now the last month, because I'm monitoring the cement industry. The last month, there is 10% increment in the cement.
Just in the last month?
Just in the last month. That means market start pick up. And when it's pick up in cement, it will pick up in steel, definitely.
Yeah.
So the project will move. Maybe it's delayed a little bit. And we know this region out is not very stable. So things delayed, which is okay, normal in the projects. But when it's pick up, it's going really
it feels
hard.
like it's picked up now, to be frank with you. I mean, we hear about what's going on in Neom with the building of the line. The sort of top news line that comes out there is that 20% of the world's steel this year is going to be used at Neom.
I do believe that actually, because the amount of constructions going on. When you talk about the infrastructure, even they are talking about sizes and the grades that not normal use in the other construction. For the last 2 years or 3 years, most of the work was underground. They are only digging.
Yeah.
And now, after they finish or reach to some stage, now they have to build this infrastructure. And I believe during the 25, we'll see some pickup in the steel industry, and also in steel, I mean rebars, and also the structure steel. Maybe structure steel in later stage, but for infrastructure and cement industry, they'll pick up actually there.
It's interesting to hear you say that, they're yet to pick up, because I would suggest it already feels that way from the outside. But it, I mean, how amazing that it's going to even increase even further. You're building quickly, but is there still a focus on quality?
Of course, when you make this transformation in general in Saudi Arabia, not construction, industry and everything, you have to care about the quality, of course. And when we talk about quality, the basic of this quality, we talk about standards. And now when we have talking about standard, now for the building, we have Saudi building codes. And in Saudi building codes, we have codes for industry, codes for residential, for hospitality, different codes. And each of these codes, they put it to satisfy the standard and safety, plus the energy consumption. Because when we talk about the green building, green or sustainability for the building, it's been there in the code.
So it's already in the Saudi building code?
It's Saudi building code, but for some level.
Okay.
But there is another, something we call it Mustadam. It's part like a LEED certification.
Oh, yes?
Yeah. We have something local certification. Some people still getting LEED, but we have another certification called Mustadam. They have very similar regulation as LEED. Now the building, when you, especially working with the government, like with the PIF or other, they ask about LEED or Mustadam certification. So the recycled material here, or the energy consumption, the carbon footprint, there is a lot of regulation. So things picking up actually also. You like pick up, so it's picking up.
Well, I mean, it's just, it is just fascinating how the speed at which Saudi is developing.
Things changing very fast.
Well, and it's changing the market. I think it's changing perspective because, of course, we've got this slowdown in China, and yet the Middle East is thriving, is booming. And there's a sense, I know that we've spoken to other people here at the Live Lounge, there's this sense that we're seeing a shift, a geopolitical shift, because of the development in the Middle East, not just in Saudi Arabia, but also in the wider Middle East, in the UAE as well. I would like to hear a little bit more about your career journey, because obviously you've ended up in a position where you're working across all sorts of different sectors. Was this how you visualized your career path? Did you see yourself ending up in this role?
No, actually. I graduated as a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
93. Okay.
93, okay.
Yeah, not 39, 93.
Yeah.
As a mechanical engineer at that time. And the first job I got actually was in maintenance in power plants, running behind the gas turbines and making maintenance there. It was okay. I loved the job. But when I thought about it, especially when I got the offer from SABIC for interview in the material science, there's a lot of mechanical engineers around me. They can make maintenance. But steel industry is something very special. Research in steel industry. So I got the feeling, oh, that's something very special. Let me go there. But without thinking of the study of master, PhD or anything with them. I went there actually for the first 6 months. I don't know what they are doing. They send me to Hadid, and that I understand what they are doing, but what's behind it, I don't know. And they assume I am a researcher, but they realize, SABIC, that okay, you are a mechanical engineer, don't know anything about metallurgy, we'll send you. They make the scholarship program. I went to the UK, get the master, then I start to understand about what we are doing in steel. Then they send me for PhD in Pittsburgh. After that, I came, now I understand exactly about the steel start development actually. And I select my career to be in the rolling, in the finishing product. At that time, I have some push from my boss to be in the steel making, but I don't like it. And he was very supporting actually. He put me in the area where I want to be. During my work in research, we develop products to meet the customer requirements. But sometimes, as you are producing, there is some problem in the material, some quality issue. So usually the people in the sales, they said, Khaled, come with us, just to convince the customer to bring a doctor, Khaled, with us. He's a PhD holder, he's a metallurgist. So come and convince the customer about the material, or understand more from him. So I built actually very good confidence with the customer, very good relation with customer and end user, because I was developing the ABI grades pipelines. So I developed very good relation with the Aramco CSD at that time. With this actually good progress in customer support while I was in the research and development, they said, okay, you are a talkative person. You have very good relation with the people. We put you in something they call a technical marketing department. So I was a director for technical marketing department. Technical market is just like connect the end user requirement with the research and development. So I did this role actually for almost 8 years, and they put the quality assurance with me. So the quality assurance and technical support plus the technical market, it was under me. It was actually a very enjoyable journey in Hadid. At that time, the kids grown up, I decided to transfer to Riyadh, to come back to Riyadh and transfer to Home of Innovation in SABIC. Home of Innovation is a very unique model. They are using material SABIC to, maybe it's not the end products, maybe it's not 100% SABIC material, or maybe there is no SABIC material in this, but they try to make smart home application, try to localize some industry in Saudi Arabia. And they make the house is like a demonstration area to foster such collaboration, to bring people to Saudi Arabia. It was actually amazing. I spent with them like 4 years. And then one of my friends, actually, he went to the ministry. They asked the SABIC to give the guy, he was an expert in steel, and said, Khaled, I need you with me. If you wish to come, we will just be like, you will be in SABIC, but working with them for, I said, okay, I worked with them actually for 2 years or 1.5 years. And I found this very interesting. Because actually the vision which we have in SABIC, you are focused in one industry. But with the ministry, you can see all the map in front of you. And you can make the real effect, not in one single industry, in many industries around you. So I found it good for myself. And hopefully I'm going to end my career there.
Well, I mean, hopefully not for a long while. You've got a good stretch left in you yet, I would suggest. Now, this is the question that we ask all of our visitors to the Live Lounge. And basically it focuses around, I'm going to find the exact phrase, it focuses around the theme of this year's event, which is Transform Tomorrow Together. And I'd be really interested to sort of hear how that phrase resonates with you personally, and how you think it sort of reflects on your industry as well.
Whatever we are talking about today, if you have whatever you see in UAE, Saudi Arabia, it's all transformation. We are transforming from one situation to others, and it's very fast. Transition is very fast. And you cannot do these things alone. You should be with someone. You should be supported. Even supported internally from your people, supported from the government, supported from the stakeholders. Even from outside, somebody provide you with the technology. So you cannot do things. And that's for tomorrow. It's because the industry, that's things we started today, but maybe we cannot see it. Maybe our next generation or third generation are going to see the benefit of this one. We cannot imagine. We can imagine today what's going to happen, but maybe we are not going to see it. So, but we have to work actually hard for our children and grandchildren.
For the next generation.
For the next generation, definitely. Because actually, whatever we have today, somebody before, he worked for that.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Dr. Khaled, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you join us at the Live Lounge.
It's my pleasure, actually. It's
for your time. And thank you to everyone in the lounge who's been listening. And for you back home, if you enjoyed that interview, then please do make sure that you subscribe either via Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or Amazon. And be sure to check out our other events. We do run several in the metals and steel space. So do head to the event section at fastmarkets.com.